In today's video, I am going to teach you how to create Pivottable in Excel. A pivot table is one of the fastest ways to summarize data and see patterns without doing manual calculations. To get started, you need to make sure Excel can clearly identify your data range and the headers. First, click any cell inside your data range. A1, C4. This is important because Excel uses the position of the active cell to decide which table or range to work with. As you look at your sheet, you should see that A1 through C4 include the data you want to summarize. Usually, the first row contains column headers, such as the names of fields you can later place into the pivot table. If your headers are in the top row, Excel will treat them as field names, which makes everything much easier. Next, click the Insert tab on the ribbon. After you click it, you will see a variety of options for adding charts, tables, and other objects. The pivot table feature is located in this area, so it is the right place to go for the next step. Take a moment to make sure you are on the Insert tab before continuing, since the Pivot Table button might not be visible on other tabs. Now click the Pivot Table button. This opens a dialog box that controls where your pivot table will be created and which data range it will use. Excel may automatically select the data range based on the cell you clicked earlier. If it does not match your expected range, you would normally adjust it here, but for this walkthrough, you should see the correct range already chosen. In the dialog box, select New Worksheet. This tells Excel to create the pivot table on a fresh sheet instead of overwriting your current data. Using a new worksheet is often the cleanest approach because it keeps your original dataset intact and makes it easier to find and edit the pivot table results later. After selecting New Worksheet, click OK. Excel will then generate a blank pivot table layout. You might see a new worksheet appear with an area for fields and two main zones where you can build the summary. At this point, your data is ready, and you are going to tell Excel exactly how you want it organized. Next, drag the product field into the rows area. This step determines how the pivot table will list items down the left side. As you drag product into the rows area, Excel will create row entries for each unique product in your dataset. This is the part that turns your raw table into a structured summary, so pay attention to what shows up in the rows. You should see separate rows for each product value. Then drag the sales field into the values area. This is where Excel will perform the calculation for the summary. Typically, Excel will sum the sales values for each product automatically. Once you place sales into the values area, you should see numbers appear in the pivot table aligned with each product row. This final placement is what gives you the main insight from your data, because it converts individual sales entries into totals or other aggregations. And that is all there is to it. That covers everything you need to know to create a pivot table in Excel, from selecting your data range to placing product in rows and sales in values.